Hi, Mark here. We're doing water leaks today. So this is a stopcock outside a house, and you first notice a water leak when you've got low pressure in the shower, or you're not getting quite the pressure in the water system in your house. So I thought I'd do a little bit of research, and I came up with if you do the research, you get underwater bubble tests, you get bubble soap paint, you get pressure and vacuum decays, tracer gas detectors, fibre optic cameras, sound detection equipment, and you get this is a beautiful one, the Honeywell Lyric Wi-Fi water and freeze detector. I mean, that's £600 right there. And I thought, good God, this is what we need here, this. Now this lovely tool is just a thin piece of metal. This is a screwdriver, a long screwdriver. And we need this thin piece of metal, and we need the stopcock, because the leak is somewhere in the system. I'll just get this open. It's somewhere in the system, and what I'm going to do is put the actual end of the blade onto the pipe or the valve at the stopcock, and this piece here just against the lug of my ear there, and then just press the lug in very gently so it closes my ear. And the sound I'm listening for, if I've got a leak, is called a babbling brook. That's the kind of sound, you know, as a brook goes past you. So I'm going to put my blade on the valve, and on the valve I can hear a babbling brook. And if I can hear a babbling brook, and it's quite distinct, the sound, that means because there's no demand for water from the house, therefore the taps are off and the washing machine's off, everything's off, therefore the water's not demanding, the house isn't demanding water, but there is a flow. If there is a flow through this valve or in the pipe, that means there's a leak somewhere. Now we don't know if it's between there and the house, or if it's backwards onto public land. So if it's backwards onto public land, it's the water company. If it's forwards towards the house, then it's your responsibility as a homeowner to fix it. So let's see what happens if we shut the stopcock off and then shut this valve. Imagine I'm shutting the valve and shut that valve. Now what I've done is I've created a gate here so the water can't go past it. So I've shut the valve off, and I'll do the same test again. And I've still got the babbling brook. So because that's shut off, I've created a gate so the water can't flow. So there's no demand for water past this point. Therefore, if there's still flow, what I'm hearing is the babbling brook from there backwards. And I'm hoping that makes sense. It takes a couple of seconds to sink in, but if the water's flowing up to the house and you hear the babbling brook, the leak could be up there. If I shut this off and I still hear the babbling brook, the leak is that way towards the street. So that's the water company to do it. And that's cost me around £6 for the screwdriver. You don't have to leak detection and cameras and all that sort of stuff. You don't know, because it's either you doing it or it's the water company doing it. Now, let's say this particular leak is quite a big one. Let's say it's 1,000 litres an hour. Now, 1,000 litres an hour you will not see on the surface. So if the pipe runs from this stopcock up to the house and it's leaking 1,000 litres an hour, I promise you, you won't see it on the surface. It's leaking into the ground, into the foundations of the house somewhere. You won't see it above surface at all. What you then have to do is use the same stick or rod and pierce the ground, and we're looking for excess water, just little dribbles of water coming off the metal shaft, and that will tell you you've got damp ground. If you've got damp ground, especially on a dry day, not like today because it's frozen and it's wet, but on a dry day, you've got a leak somewhere in the ground, and that's where to start the investigation, between the stopcock outside the house and the stopcock inside the house. Because if the leak is past the stopcock, then you'd see it in the walls and you'd see a drip and all that sort of thing. So it's from the stopcock in the house backwards towards this one in the street. Now, what we've got, I mean, I know you can't see it on camera, but up there we've got about 50 yards of kind of pathway out to the main road. And I've done the camera video down here, so it's nice and quiet. But if it goes up to the main road, there's a distribution centre, a big box. It's a cylindrical box, like a big bean can. That's a distribution centre for 10 to 30 houses. And all the stopcocks for the street, these ones, they come, the distribution centre sends the water down to these, and then they go to individual houses. So there's another thing you can check for, is if these individual ones usually feed one house, and they should be 28mm diameter. That's the pipe running from the stopcock up to the house. That's the feed. If the stopcock serves more than one house,
Sorry.
hello, hello.
Sorry.
It's all right, we're dog people. It's all right.
Hi.
Come here, come on.
In a public
if
video
they-
now.
It's totally
So
all
what
right.
a star.
So the little puppy in the video, that's all right.
Sorry.
It's okay, lovely.
So if it feeds more than one house, so 2 houses, 3 houses, then the pipe has got to be wider. So just be careful, if you split title on a property, you've got to actually install bigger pipes, because you're now serving 2 properties or serving 3 properties, which means, you know, you need more water to service the properties. So that's the stopcock. This is the old type. This is a square type, cast iron type gate. The new ones are a round gate, and they're plastic, and they're about 6 inches round. And you can't get them up with a screwdriver. You need I think it's called a toggle tool, something like that. But you need a different type of tool to get the actual gate up, or the cover up. But these ones will come up with a screwdriver. So, and they go back down again, and they say water on them. If you've got a square one in front of your house and it doesn't say water on it, it's possibly CCTV, which is how they used to mark or stamp the cable companies' gates or covers. So it should say water on it, and that's your water stopcock, and that's all you need. So you don't need to spend thousands on the Honeywell Lyric Wi-Fi water leak and freeze detector. You don't need any sound equipment and headphones. You don't need a fibre optic camera. You certainly don't need tracer gas detectors, they're for a different job. You don't need pressure and vacuum decays, and you don't need underwater bubble test or a bubble spray paint. You don't need any of that at all. It's just this. And from this, we can test whether the leak is from the stopcock to the house, or from the stopcock backwards, because then you can investigate further where the leak is down the line. So I hope that helped. I hope it was clear enough. It takes a little bit of getting your head around, because you've got 2 stopcocks where maybe you only thought there was one. But I hope it was clear enough. And if you've got any questions, by all means, give us a shout. My name's Mark, and see you soon.